Hey, you're welcome back to the BI Analyst Hub. If you are new here, my name is Augustine, and on this channel, I help you master Excel, Power BI, and SQL. In today's video, we are going to work on a real-world project, a patient visit dashboard built entirely in Microsoft Excel. We will take on the role of a data analyst for a hospital that wants to better understand its patient visit trend, from how often patient visits and overall performance over time. I'll walk you through the entire process, step by step, from cleaning and transforming the raw data using Power Query to analyzing it with pivot tables and DAX, and finally, designing a clean, interactive dashboard that management can use for decision making. By the end of this tutorial, you will not only have a professional patient visit dashboard, but also gain practical skills in data cleaning and transformation using Power Query, applying DAX formulas, data modeling, pivot tables, and data visualization. So if you are ready to take on Excel analytics skills to the next level, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on future tutorials. Alright, let us jump straight away into it and start building our patient visit dashboard in Excel. Alright, so these are the files that we are going to use in the tutorial. So we have all the icons that you use in the tutorial, and then this is the Excel workbook that we are going to use. Now, before we start with the analysis, let us read the letter from management to know the requirements that we have to follow to create the dashboard, right? Perfect. Sorry. So this is the letter from the management team. And the subject of the letter is request for development of a patient visit dashboard. So dear sir, I hope this message finds you well. The hospital management team is seeking your expertise to develop a comprehensive and interactive patient visit dashboard in Microsoft Excel. The objective of this project is to provide management with clear insight into how patients visit the hospital, including how frequently they come and then the services they utilize. Perfect. So I'm not going to read everything. So just download the file. I'll leave a link. I will leave the link in the description or the comment section. Just download the file and then go through so that we all be on the same page, right? Perfect. So these are the files that we are going to use. As I said, I'll leave a link to the description or in the comment section below. So just do well to check it out and then follow this tutorial. All right. So when you download the data set or when you download all the file, just open a blank workbook like this. Open a blank workbook. So what we are going to use is we are going to make use of Power Query, a data model, and then DAX. Right. So this is not the ordinary or this is not the normal Excel that you know. We are going to go to the advanced section, right? Perfect. So now open a blank workbook like this. Open a blank workbook like this and then go to data. So on data, just click on from text or CSV. So just come to the get data, get and transform data section and then click on from text and then CSV. So what we are going to do is we are going to push our data into Power Query so that we can do the cleaning and then the transformation there. Right. Perfect. Sorry. So this is the workbook that we are going to use. So just select it and then click on what import. Then you'll be presented with the preview of the Power Query editor. So this is the preview. It is showing the first 200 rows, right? So this is the data that we are going to use. Now it is asking us to load and then also transform data. So what do we want to do? Now, because we want to clean and then transform the data, we always going to choose what? Transform data. Now, if you are okay, and then you are certain that your data is cleaned, your data is transformed, everything is set, then you can click here and then choose either load or load to, right? So don't worry about this. You come there. So click on transform data. All right, so this is Power Query editor. This is what we are going to use to transform our data. Now let us, go through each of the columns that we have. So first of all, we have the date column, we have the patient's ID, we have the gender of the patient, you have the age of the patient, and then this is the satisfaction score. Now, let me bring the column quality so that you know something here. So now each of the column here is representing on the valid is what 100%. So whenever you start your analysis, you make sure everything is what 100%. But just check here. Now the valid is saying where the patient satisfaction score is. So the valid is what 28%, and then the empty is what 72%. Now you ask yourself, what is happening here? Now, as I said, you have to always make sure it is 100%. But this case is different, right? So we have a now value here. So the now value means that our patients didn't, rate us, right? The patients that visited our hospital, some of them didn't rate us. Now we don't know why or the reason why they didn't rate us. So in the future, we are going to explore and then know why they didn't rate us, right? So wherever you see now, it means that our patient didn't rate us. So in this particular instance, it is okay for the column to be like this, right? It is okay for the column not to be 100% because we have what empty values here. So all the empty values are represented with what now, and wherever you see now, it means that the patient didn't rate us, right? Perfect. So we have the first name, we have the last name, the patient race is admin, and then what the patient wait time, and then the department that the patient was referred to. Now there is admin. We have yes or no, right? We have yes or no. Now, what is the meaning of the yes, and then what is the meaning of the no? Now, wherever you see yes, it means that the patient is somehow related to our admin or our staff, right? So, see, in our hospital, we have workers there, and then the patients, wherever you see yes, it means that the patients coming to our hospital is related to some of our workers, right? So, assuming you are working at the hospital and then your mother or your father or your sister visits the hospital, that patients, that your sister will the is admin will say yes. And then if a patient is not related to any of our workers, he will say no, right? Yes. So this is what the yes and then no means. So if it is yes, it means the patient is related to our workers, and then if it is no, the patient is not what related to our worker. So now this, why do we have this column? It means that so if the patient is related to our worker, right? It means that the payment that the patient is going to make, if suppose the payment is 100 CDs, or the total bill for the patient is, let's say, $1,000 or 1,000 Ghana CDs, because the patient is related to our worker, we will reduce the amount for the patients, right? The patients will pay, instead of $1,000, the patient is going to pay maybe $800 or maybe $500 or $1,000 or 500 Ghana cedis, right? Yeah. So this is what this column is about, right? And then the patient wait time is the time that the patients waited before they were attended to, right? Perfect. So before you start with the analysis, you have to make sure you understand what the column is talking about, right? Or what every column means. So if you don't know what the column means, you just have to reach out to the person who sent you the data, and then you ask the person, okay, so this column, what does it mean? And then you will be good to go. Perfect. Now, the first thing I always do when I'm in Power Query, first of all, let me turn the column quality off. When I'm in Power Queries, I rename the table, right? I rename the data. So now this is what patients visit. I'm okay with the data, right? So if you're not okay, just select everything and then rename it here. But then I'm okay with the data, rename of the data, so everything is set. Now, with the analysis in the future, we are going to analyze patients that visited the hospital in the morning and patients that visited the hospital in the afternoon, right? So AM and then what? PM. Now, when you check here, the first column, the date column, the data type is what is date and time, because we have the date and then we have what the time and then we have the period. So whether it is AM or it is what PM. Perfect. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to extract the period, the AM and then the PM from this column, right? From this column. So in order to do that, you come to the add column tab here, come to the add column tab here, and then from test, come to from test. You will see extract here. So click on the drop down here, and then let's extract the last characters. Now, mind you, because this AM and PM is consistent, right? It is consistent because the AM is two letter words and then the PM is also what, two letter words. Because they are consistent, this trick or this uh, what I'm going to show you is going to work, right? Yes. So if it is not consistent, if the number is not consistent, it means that you cannot extract it like this, right? Now, because it is consistent, let's come to add column from test, then click on what? Extract. And we are going to extract the last characters. So how many characters do you want to extract? The AM is two characters and then the PM is what? Two characters. So I are going to extract what? The last two characters. So click on, like, just type two here and then click on what? Okay. So do you see that? So now we have AM and then PM, right? Perfect. So now let's double click here and then rename it to, let's say, period, and then hit enter. Perfect. So the data type is what? Test. That is what we want. Perfect. So now let's come here. Now, because we have extracted the AM and then the PM from this data, we don't have to keep the AM and then the PM here again, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to click on the date column, come to transform, just come to transform. Let me see. Okay, so just whilst on the add column, you can just click on this one, the data type, and then check date, only date. So now it is showing date and time. Now check it what? Date. Now you see the time and then the AM, everything is gone here. Perfect. Now this is what you want, right? This is what you want. Okay, so now let's scroll here. Let's scroll to the right and then see something here. Now we have patient's first initial and then patient's last name, right? So in the future, if you want to analyze based on patient's name, there are some patients that are having the same last name, right? But then the only thing that can differentiate this patient is what? The first name, right? So what we can do is we can merge the two, right? So we can merge the two. So what we are going to do is select the first one, hold your control, and then select the second one, right? So first of all, you make sure the first name is selected first, hold your control, and then select the last name, right? Now, we don't want to add another column. We want to transform the column. Now, the difference between add column and transform column is that with the add column, see, when we were on the add column, we added another column to the data. But then when you go to the transform column, it means that we are overriding the existing data. We are not going to add another column to the data, right? Perfect. So this is the meaning of the transform and then what? The add column. Perfect. Now, while the two is selected, come to the test column here, come to the test column here, and then you see merge columns, right? You see merge columns. So click on merge columns, and then now the separator is none. Now we are going to use the space as the separator, right? We are going to use the space as a separator, and then what is the name that we want to give to our new column? So the name will be what? Full name, right? Full name. That's the full patient's name. Now you see the heading, the name of the heading is in small letter words, right? So let's do same full, sorry, underscore name so that we will be consistent. So let's click on OK. And then you see now we have the first name or the first initial name and then what? The last name all together in one column, right? Perfect. So this is what we want to get. Now let's scroll to this part and see what insight can we also get. Now we want to group the patient's age, right? So see, we have a lot of ages here. So from 1 year to what? 79 years. So now if you are to use this column in our analysis, we are going to get a lot of noise on our chart, right? You are going to get a lot of noise on our chart, and then we will not get any meaning out of the chart that we are going to insert, right? So what we can do is we can group the ages. So let's say from 1 year to maybe 20 years, from maybe 20 years to 50 years, from maybe 30 years to this year. Do you get it? So that in the future, when we are making analysis or when we are making decisions, you know that, oh, okay, from this age to this age contributed to this amount, blah blah blah. Do you get that? Yes. So this is what we want to get. Now, in order to do that, make sure the patient age is selected, right? Make sure the patient's age is selected. Now, that's what we are going to do. Just come to add column, right? Come to add column. So on add column, you see whilst the patient's age is selected, and then on add column, you see at the general section here, you see conditional column, right? Conditional column. So click on conditional column, and then you are going to be presented with this add conditional column. So this conditional column is the same as using the if function, right? It's the same as using the if function. Now, what we are going to do here is we are going to name it age underscore bracket or bucket, whatever you want. Perfect. Now, what we are going to say is that if the patient's age, right? If the the patient's age is less than or equal to 10, then we are going to see, uh, what should we see? We are going to see 0 to 10, right? If it is less than or equal to 10, then we are going to group it to what? 0 to 10. Then click on add clause to add another one, right? So else if the patient age is less than or equal to 20. So we are going to have 10 intervals each, right? So this place, we are going to make it 11 to what? 20, right? So the intervals will be 10. Then add another clause and then the same thing. If the patient age is less than or equal to 30, then we are going to name it as what? 21 to 30. So follow me, then you sorry, you know what I'm trying to say. So the same thing, patient age is less than or equal to 40. Then we are going to say 31 to what? 40. Perfect. The same thing, if the patient age is less than or equal to 50, you're going to say what? Uh, 41 to 50. So before you can do this, you have to make sure that you know where the starting, you know the start of the age and then the end of the age, right? So in our case, the start of the age is what? 1, and then the end is what? 79. So we have to make sure you include all the ages here. Perfect. So we are not done. We are not up to 70, right? So add another column. So the same thing, else if the patient age is less than, is less than or equal to 60. Now we are going to say what? 51 to 60. So we are still not there, right? So add another clause. Patient age is less than or equal to 70. Then we are going to say 61 to what? 70. Now, because we are having up to 79, right? Because we are having up to 79, this is what we are going to say. Sorry. We are not going to add another clause, right? We are not going to add another clause because when we add another clause, it will extend to 80, right? So what we are going to say is else make this one as what? 70 plus, right? 70 plus. So we can use this plus here. But then when you use this plus here, it is not going to work, right? So let's first of all use this plus, and then in the future we are going to change the plus to the plus symbol, right? Perfect. So this is what we are saying. If the age is less than or equal to 10, give us this. Up to the age is equal to 70, less than or equal to 70, give us 61 to 70. And then else, if the age does not fall within all these things, then give us what? 70 plus. Let's click on OK here and then see what will happen here. Perfect. Now, do you see it? So we have 0 to 10, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, blah, 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 blah. But then when you check here, it seems we are having some error here, right? We are having some error here. So what is happening? What is happening? Now, first of all, let's change the data type to test. Perfect. You have a test here, but then this is showing a date, right? This is showing a date. So now, how can we rectify that? So we'll just click on the drop down here, right? Click on the drop down here. Sorry, I'm coming. All right. Let's select everything. Okay, so let's change it. First of all, let's cancel the type here. So you have to do it before you change it to the correct data type, right? So just cancel the type that we did here. So make it like this, right? And then click on the drop down here. Now, when you click on the drop down here, I know most of you are not okay when it comes to coding, right? But this is very simple. Now, follow me here. You see, we are saying where it is less than 10, it is saying then 0 to 10. Else, if where it is less than 20, so we are going to delete from this place up to this place. And then where it is saying then we introduce our double quote and then say 11 to 20, right? 11 to 20. So when we hit enter, this one, you see now we have the correct thing here. Perfect. Now we have the correct thing here, right? Perfect. So now we can change it to the test that we want. Change it to test, and then you see we don't have any problem here, right? Perfect. All right. So now we are done with the age brackets or the age brackets, whatever you want to call it. Now let's change the plus. You see, we have 70 plus. We want to change the plus here so that it will be 70 plus as the plus symbol, right? As the plus symbol. Now let's go to transform and let's see if you can find it here. So on transform, you see we have what? Replace values, right? Replace values. So make sure this column is selected. So we can go to transform and then select replace value, or whilst this column is selected, right click and then you see replace values like this, right? So click on it and then we want to replace or we want to find the plus. Sorry, we want to find the plus. It is case sensitive, so make sure you write it the same way as it is here, right? So we want to find the plus and then we want to replace it with what? This plus, right? So when you click OK, now you see it is saying 70 plus as the plus symbol, right? Perfect. So now everything is working perfectly for us. Now, what we are also going to do is we are going to group the age once again, this age, to say whether it is what infant, whether it is adult, whether it is teenagers, right? So you see that this one does not really get us what we want, right? But then don't worry, we are going to use this in the future, so you understand why I did this. Perfect. So now let's now group the age into what? Age group. Now the first one was what? Age bracket, right? It was age bracket. Now it is what we are going to group it into what? Age group. So we are going to say if it is the age is less than 2 or it is less than 5, we are going to say the patient is what? Is an infant. If it is less than maybe 10 or something, we are going to say the patient is a teenager or is an adult. Do you get that? Yes. So what can we do here? So just the same thing, click on add column. Whilst the patient age is selected here, click on the add column and go to what? Conditional column, right? Conditional column. So the same thing here. The same thing here. So now let's name this one to what? Age, sorry. Age underscore group, right? Age underscore group. Now, what we are going to say is if the patient age, right? If the patient age, the same thing is less than or equal to, in this case, you are going to say 2, right? Now, if it is less than or equal to 2, what do you want to say? You want to say the patient is what? Is an infancy or is an infant, right? So we are going to group all the patients from 0 year to what? 2 years to what? Infancy, right? So add another column or another clause. So patient age is less than or equal to, in this case, you are going to say 6. Sorry, 6. If it is less than or equal to 6, then we are going to say the patient is what? Is an early childhood, right? Early childhood. Add another clause. If the patient age is less than or equal to 12, then we are going to say the patient is what? Is in the middle childhood. Perfect. And then add another clause. If the patient age is less than or equal to 18, then we are going to say the patient is what? A teenager, right? The patient is a teenager. Now, if the patient is not found among this group, right? So if the patient is uh, more than 18 years, right? If the patient is more than 18 years, then we are going to see, then the patient is what? Is an adult, right? The patient is what? Is an adult. So just click OK. And then this is what we are getting here, right? So let's change the data type. So click on this one and then let's change it to what? Test. Perfect. So this is what we've been able to do so far, right? So we can just go ahead and then load it to our data model, right? We can just go ahead and then load it to our data model. But then watch here, in the analysis or on the dashboard, we want to get uh, the total patients or the total visits by month, by year, by the day. Do you see that? Yes. But then by week type, that's what, whether the patient visited us on weekend or the weekday, right? But then when you check here, we don't have anything like the year, the month, the week, whether it's weekend or it is Saturday or it is Sunday, right? We don't have that information here, right? So we are going to, duplicate this table or this data to insert another data, or to insert another information that I called the calendar date or the calendar table, or you can also call it what? The date table, right? So just follow me and then you will know what I'm trying to see. So now, under when you come to the queries here, just right click on the data and then you see duplicate. So just click on duplicate. Then we have a duplicate of the original data here. Now I don't want to see this name, so I will change it to what? A name like our date table. So this table will hold all our dates. So whether it is year, it is month, it is day, it is weekend, it is weekday. So we are going to do everything in this, data. We could have, done it here, but then I want to show you all the processes that involves whenever you are making analysis, right? So that we can load our data to the data model. We can, connect our tables. We can, write our DAX calculation and everything, right? That is why I'm using this process. So whilst the name is renamed, just click on OK or enter to get the name as what? Date table. Now, we don't need all these columns, right? We don't need all these columns. We are going to create our own column. But then what we are going to do, so make sure the date table here is selected, or you can also call it a calendar table, right? Whatever that you want. What we are going to do is we are going to right click on the first column, that's the date, right? And then you select remove other columns. Remove other columns. So when you click on remove other columns, all the columns will be removed except what? The date column that we selected, right? Perfect. So now we are making progress. So now the date column here, it has what? Duplicate, right? It has duplicate date. It has duplicate date. So what we are going to do is right click on the date column, and then we are going to say, or we are going to click on what? Remove duplicate. So when you click on that, you see now this is what? The duplicate has been what? Removed. Now we have what? Unique date. We have unique date. Perfect. So now what can we do? What we are going to do uh, is to add the different columns that we need in our data, right? So just click on add column, click on add column, and then what we are going to do is come to from date and time, from date and time. And then first of all, we are going to extract the year from this column, right? So whilst on from date and time, click on the drop down under date and then hover on year. Hover on year and then select what? Year. Now do you see that? Do you see that? So we have the year. Instead of us having the day, the month, and then the year, we are having only the year here, right? Perfect. So the same thing, click on the date again, click on the date again, so select the entire column, right? Come to click on the date here, click on the date. Then we are going to extract what? The month. We are going to extract the month. So hover on month, hover on month. We don't want the first one. We want what? The name of the month. So click on the name of the month. And we have what? The name of the month here. Do you get it? So we are extracting all these things from what? This single column, this date column, right? Because this date column contains three things. Contains the day, the month, the month, the date, the day, and what the year. So we have extracted them here, right? Perfect. Now I don't want to see the month spelled in full, right? So if it is June or if it is September, I want to see something like SEP, SEP, right? If it is August, I want to see something like AUG, right? Perfect. So I want to shorten the month. So in order to do that, just select the column, right? Select the entire column. Click on the month name here. And then now we don't want to add another column. We want to transform the column. So click on transform, and then click on come to test column, right? Come to test column and then click on extract. Then we are going to extract what? The first three characters. So click on what? First characters, then type what here as what? Three. So you are going to extract the first three characters and then hit what? Okay. So now do you see that? You have gotten the short form of what? The month. Now you see I didn't add another column. I just override the existing column. That's why I clicked on what? Transform. Perfect. I know you understand it. All right. So now the same thing. Click on the date. Make sure the date is selected. Now I'm going to add another column. So I'll go to what? Add column. Right. And then I'm going to insert the month number. Right. So click on the date, the drop down of the date, hover on month, and then select the first one. So we should get something like 1 to 12, right? So when you click on the drop down, you see 1 to 12. Now don't worry about the the importance of this month number here. Don't worry for now. When we go to the dashboard or when we start inserting our pivot table, you know the importance of this one, right? Perfect. So yeah, let's double click and then let's name it to month number or month num for short, right? Perfect. So click on the date again whilst the date is selected, and then whilst on add column, click on the drop down here. Now we are going to insert the day, right? So hover on day, and then let's select the name of day, right? Name of day. So you have Friday, Monday, Tuesday, up to Sunday. So now I also want to shorten it as the month, right? So you can just pause the video and then go ahead and then do it, right? Yes, I'm watching you. Pause the video now and then do it. All right. So I know you got it correct, right? Perfect. If you are finding it yeah, if you are finding it difficult to do it, don't worry, don't worry. We just started, okay? So you'll be good to go. All right. So just click on the column that we want to transform, and then go to transform, right? Go to transform, and under test column, right? Under test column, click on the drop down under extract, and then click on what? First characters. So click type 3 because you are going to extract the first three characters and then hit what? Okay. So this is what you've done so far. All right. So we are not done. Let's get the day number for the day, right? So the number that we are getting, like the month's number and then the day number, is going to help us to sort the. So you see that this one, the month is not starting from January, right? It is mixed up, right? So we are going to use the number to, sort it when we start with the pivot table. So don't worry. So just click on the date again, go to add column, then the same thing, click on the date, then the day, click on the day of week, right? Now this one is not day, it is what? Day of week. So click on day of week. We should get something like 0 to 6, right? 0 to 6. Do you see that? Perfect. So zero and six means what? Sunday. Zero and six means Sunday, and then one to five means what? Monday to Friday. Perfect. So we are not done, right? We are not done. Now we want to get something like, so you see the one, two, three, four, five up to six. It doesn't really make sense, right? It doesn't really make sense here. So what we are going to do is we are going to depend or use the number, the day of week number to say or to differentiate them, whether it is what weekday or what week type, sorry, weekend. So whether the patient visited our hospital on Sunday or Saturday, or whether they visited our hospital from Monday to Friday. You get that? Yes. So that will help us in our analysis in the future. Perfect. So now the same thing, come here, select the date, come to add column, right? Come to add column and then click on conditional column. Click on conditional column. So the same thing. So mine, as I said, the conditional column is the same as what? Using the if formula or using the if function. All right. So now we are going to name this as what? Week type. Week type. And we are going to say if the day of week, right? If the day of week is equal to zero, right? Now, before that, let me exit this and show you what I'm trying to say. Now you see that whenever the number is zero, it means it is what? Sunday. Whenever the number is six, it means it is what? Saturday. So in my country, Saturdays and Sundays are what? Are weekends. Saturdays and Sundays are our weekends. And then Monday to Friday are what? Weekdays. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to group them, right? So select the column like this. Go to add column. Click on conditional column. Then let's do it one more time. Week type. And you are going to see if the day of week is this column, right? Is this column is equal to zero, or the day of week is equal to six. So if it is equal to zero, let's say it is what? It is weekend because it is what? Sunday. And then if it is six, you are also going to say it is what? Weekend because it is what? Saturday, right? So Saturday and Sunday. Now, if it is not zero or if it is not six, then we are going to say it is what? A weekday, right? It is a weekday. So when you click on OK, you get it here. So click on the drop down, this one, and then select what? Test. Now, when we filter to see only zero and six, you will see this one will only be what? Weekend. Do you see that? We are having only weekend here. Do you see that? Yes. So it means that our, conditional column is what? Working perfectly like this. Perfect. So now we are done with, transforming our data, right? We are done with transforming our data. In the future, if we have any other things to add to our column or our data, we will just come back to Power Query and then we will do that perfectly. All right. So now since we are done with the two data or the two tables, so the patient visit and the date table, we are done with everything. So we have to push it back to Excel to do our analysis, right? Perfect. Now I want to show you a different way. So click on the home tab here and then come to this part here where it's saying close and load. So when you click on the drop down, you see close and load, and then you see close and load too. Now, with the close and load, that's the first one. When you click on the first one, it means that we are loading this data, the patient visit and then the date table into our normal Excel worksheet, right? In this case, we are not going to create any relationship. We are not going to create any data model, right? Perfect. But then when you click on close and load to, right? When you click on close and load to, we are going to, Excel is going to be loaded. Our data is going to be loaded into our data model, right? We are not going to see it in our worksheet, but then it will be loaded to our data model where we will be creating the data model, right? Where we be creating the modeling, right? Where we be creating the modeling. So when normally we close and load to whenever we have large data set, You see that Excel is able to contain 1 point something million rows, right? Perfect. But then when you have some a data that you have like 2 million, 5 million, 10 million rows, it is always advisable to load, close and load to the data model, right? Perfect. But if you have 10 million rows and then you close and load to the normal worksheet, Excel is going to break, right? Excel is going to break because it only take 1.4 or yeah, 1 point something million rows. Perfect. But then this data is very small. I think it's 9,000 plus. But then I chose to load it to the data model so that we create the modeling, right? We create the relationship between the two tables. Perfect. So let's click on uh, close and load to. Close and load to. Now, you see, we selected close and load to, right? So it is showing select how you want this data in your workbook, right? So it is saying whether we want to load it to the table or pivot table report or pivot chart. So what you want to do is select this one to say only create connection. So we are going to load our data into the data model. Then what we are going to do is we are going to just create a connection between our data model, right? Perfect. So now when you do that, just select this one, add this data to the data model, right? So this was what I was talking about. So make sure this one is what checked like this and hit OK. So now the data is being loaded to our data model, right? This is how it is. It is being loaded to our data model. All right. So you see creating relationships. Perfect. So now everything is set, right? Everything is set for us. So you see, we are not seeing our data here, right? We are not seeing our data in the normal worksheet. So it is, I mean, loaded into our data model. We cannot see it here. So in a case where you want to go back to Power Query to uh, add something or maybe edit something, when you hover on this one, you see we have the Power Query view here. You can edit, you can click on edit to go back to Power Query, or you can just what delete the table. Perfect. So now we can just exit it like this. And then now this is what you've been able to do, right? Perfect. So now, as I said, we are not seeing the tables here, right? We are not seeing the tables here. So let me bring this one here so that I can explain things to you rightly. Now, we don't have any relationship between the patient visit and the date table, right? So, in order for what we are going to do or we are coming to do to work, we have to, or there must be some relationship between the two tables, right? We have to connect them, or we have to, I mean, I don't know how the right word to use. Yes, I think we have to connect them, right? Perfect. So that there will be a relationship between the date table and the patient visit table, right? So perfect. So now this is where our data modeling comes in, right? So this is where our data modeling comes in. So if you are able to follow this tutorial throughout, you be able to also understand how Power BI works, right? Because what we are doing is mostly done in Power BI. So with the DAX that we are coming to do, and then we are there with the data modeling that we are also coming to do, they are mostly done in what Power BI. But then I'm bringing it to Excel so that you know how Power BI and then Excel are somehow what similar, right? Perfect. So what we are going to do to create the relationship is to go to Power Pivot here, right? Is to go to Power Pivot here, and then if you don't have the Power Pivot on your ribbon here on your tab here, just on the date or on the data tab here, you see we have what manage data model, right? Perfect. So you can also click here. So now if you have the Power Pivot, click on Power Pivot and then click on what manage. So when you click on manage, it will send you to Power Pivot so that you will go to the diagram view and then you can what create the relationship from there. Perfect. So it is loading. Let's allow it to load. Perfect. So now this is the Power Pivot uh, view, right? This is the Power Pivot view. Now we are showing the data view. Now we have the data view, and then we have what the diagram view. So The diagram view is what we are going to use to what to create the relationship between our two tables. So now you can see we have what the patient visit table and what the date table here, right? So it can be on any of them, right? It can be in any of them. So just click on diagram view and then it will be presented with this one. So we have these two tables here, right? You have these two tables here. So mind you, there will be some instance or there can be some instance where you have like 10 tables. So you have to find relationship between all the tables, right? So in this case, we only have two tables, right? We only have two tables. So in this tutorial, we could have just used the normal Excel, but then I just want to show you how to do this so that in the future when I'm introducing more complex videos or tutorials, you'll be able to understand and then follow, right? Perfect. So now these are all the tables that we have in our patient's visit, and these are all the tables or columns that we have in our date table, right? Now we have to create a relationship between the two tables, right? We have to create a relationship between the patient visits and then what's the date table. Now, in order to do that, we will find something that is common to both of them, right? So, if you recall, we duplicated the patient visit table to do in order to do the date table, right? So we got all these things from the patient visit, right? So it means that this date is the same as this date, right? The date in the patient visit is the same as the date in what the date table, right? So we can use these two dates to create our relationship. Do you get that? Perfect. So in order to create the relationship, what we do is just click on the date, select, and then drag it here. So when you release it, you have something like this. So don't worry, you will see the relationship. Perfect. Now, do you see that? So our data is flowing to this part, right? So let me minimize it like this. Perfect. So it can be something like this, right? So you see our data is flowing to this part, right? So it is what one to many. Now, why am I saying one to many, or what am I using to say one to many? So you see here is saying one, and then this one is saying hash. So where it is saying one is what one, and then here is where it's saying hash is what many. Why is it saying this is many and then this is one? Now, do you if you recall, we duplicated the date and then brought it here, right? And then we removed duplicates, right? We removed all the duplicate in the date column, right? So when you come to the date table, this date, there's no duplicate, right? That's why it is saying what one to many. So the many in the date table, in the date column here means that there are so many duplicates in the date table here, right? So this table can be termed as what our transactional data or our transactional table, right? Or our fact table, right? Yes. So that is that. So don't worry. In the future, I'm going to introduce a lot of tutorials on this data modeling and DAX, and then you will appreciate how to, deal with complex data set, right? How to deal with complex data set involving different departments and then a whole lot. Perfect. So now this is how we create the relationship, right? This is how we create the relationship between the tables, right? Perfect. So now we can go back to the data view here. So now there is what relationship between the two, and then we can what also exit to what normal worksheet here. Perfect. So now we have a relationship between the patient's visit table and then the date. It is now time for us to insert our pivot table so we can start with the analysis. But then before we insert the pivot table, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another table to the already table that we have, that two table that we have, so that in the future where I write my formulas and then my DAX calculations, they will all be, stored in that table. So this is what I'm talking about. So first of all, just Control C, select any cell, right? Select any cell, Control C to copy. Then come to Power Pivot. So on Power Pivot, just select Manage. So when you select Manage, it will send you to the Pivot whilst this place is selected, right? So when you come here, this place will automatically be selected for you Once it is selected, just click on paste and then rename this to calculations. Right? You can say DAX calculations or calculations for short. And then hit OK. Now another table, do you see that? Another table will be added here. So we have patient visit, date table, and then what? Calculations. Perfect. So this is what I want to do, right? Now let me switch back to my workbook. So click here to switch back and then escape to exit from here. Now it is time for us to insert our pivot table, right? So select any cell like this, go to insert and then click on what pivot table. Now when you click on pivot table, this is what you are going to get. So the normal pivot table, Excel will automatically select the first one. That's the select a table or a range. But then because we are dealing with data models, Excel, saw that we are using data model. So it selected the use this workbooks data model, right? Perfect. So this is what we want. And then because we already have the sheet, we will check or select existing worksheet and then we hit what? Okay. So now this is our pivot table. And then you see the calculations table that we added. This is it. And then we have the date table and then the column, and then we have the patient table and then all the columns here. Right. Perfect. So now we can exit this for now. And then it is now time for us to insert our DAX calculations, or it is now time for us to start with our DAX calculations. So in order to do that, just come to pivot, power pivot, right? Come to power pivot and then click on the drop down on measures. Click on the drop down on measures. Now, when you hear measure in Excel or Power BI, what we are trying to say is a measure is any number or yeah, anything that can be aggregated. So anything that can be summed, that can be averaged, that we can find the maximum, the average. Do you get that? Yes. So that is what a measure. Perfect. So we're also talking about numbers. Okay. So when you click on new measure, you'll be presented with this. I mean, measure dialog here. So now the first one is table name. Now, table name, when you click on the drop down, you see all the tables that we have. Now, the reason why I added this third calculations table is that I want all the calculations or all the measures that I'll be writing to be stored in that table, right? Yes, that is why I added that this table to my, two tables. Perfect. Now, the measure name, the first measure that we are going to deal with is what? The total patient visit or the total visit, right? Then the description, you can just write something about what the uh, measure here, right? But I normally skip that because I know total visit is what we are going to count the number of patients that visited our hospital. Perfect. So now when you come here, I'm going to make it big so that you follow it. Now we are going to get the total visit. So in a normal Excel function, we are going to do the count of what? Or the patient ID column, right? The count of the patient ID column to get the total visit. But then in this case, we are going to use a function or a DAX function called count rows, right? Count rows. So the count rows does similar thing, but then this one it counts the number of rows in a table, right? It counts the number of rows in a table. So the count rule, just focus on the intelligence here, right? Focus on the intelligence here. The count rules require what? The table, right? As an argument. So what table do you want to count? You want to count what? The patient visit table. So this is it. And then you double click, then you close it, right? So you count rules. Then what is the table that you want to count the rules? Is what? The patient visit. Now we are not using the distinct count here because we don't want to count the distinct patients. Right? We would just want to count all the patients that visited our hospital. So one patient can visit the hospital like 10 times. We want to count it 10 times. You get it? Yeah. So that is that. Now you can click on check formula and then you see no errors in formula. So now let's format the formula. Select a number. And here we will choose what? A whole number and then you use the comma separator and you click on what? Okay. Now watch here. So now we see we have what our total visit here, right? We have our total visit here. Perfect. So the same process, you're going to go to pivot, click on measure, and then click on what? New measures. Now, this is going to be the percentage of what? Admin appointment. Percentage of admin appointment. I just want to make it big so that you see what I'm doing. So the same thing, I want the DAX measure I'm going to write to be stored in what? The calculations table. And the name I'm going to do it, give it to this measure is what? The percentage of what? Admin, admin appoint appointment. Now, that's what we are saying. This 90, this 9,216, you want to find the percentage of those that came to our hospital that came as an admin appointment, and then those that didn't come as an admin appointment. Now, in my previous, uh, minute, I told you that with the admin column, it means that if you see yes, it means that the patient is somehow related to the workers in our hospital. So assuming you go to a hospital where your father or your mother or your brother or any of your relative is working there, then it means you as the patient you enjoy some admin privileges, right? Because you have your relative working there. So instead of you to pay $1,000 or thousand Ghana cedis, because your relative is working there, you subsidize your billing, and you pay $800 or 800 cedis instead of the $1,000 or the thousand cedis, right? Yeah. So we are going to find a percentage of those people, right? We are going to find a percentage of those people. So that is that. So let me make it big so that you see it well. All right. So now this is what we are going to do. So don't think about the function right now. I'm going to explain it to you when I'm done writing it. Okay. I'm going to do the divide and then count rows. I'm counting all the rows. Now, I don't want to count all the rows in the admin column. I want to count the rows where the is admin column is equal to what? Yes. So it means if it is equal to yes, it means that that patient has his or a relative working at in our hospital, right? Perfect. So now what I can do is to filter the table, right? So when you check here, the filter function requires what? The table, I mean, requires two arguments, the table and what? The filter expression. Now, the table that we are going to use or we are going to filter is obviously what? The patient visit table, right? And then comma to come towards the filter expression, enter to come to the next line, right? Now, I can just write everything on the same line, but I want you to just follow it step by step. That's why I'm coming to the next line. All right. Now, the filter expression is what do you want to do? Now, we want to locate where the is admin. Sorry, is admin, right? Is equal to yes, right? And then when you close it, it means we are done with what? The filter, right? We are done with the filter. Now, watch it. The filter requires two arguments, the table and then the expression. So the filter says, what table do you want to filter? We want to filter the patient's table, right? Comma to come to the next argument. That's the filter expression. The filter expression is something like the condition. Now, we want to filter the column. Now, this is the column. Now, you see the patient visit table is attached to it. So this is called what? A qualifying statement. Or when you write it like this, so we, sorry, we only want to see the column, right? We only want to see the column. But then it is coming with what? The table. So this means what? This is a qualifying way of writing our DAX, right? Perfect. So where the patient visit table is equal to yes, or where the column, where the is admin column in the patient visit table is equal to yes, right? Perfect. So now when we are done, we come here and then let's end the count rules. Perfect. So now we are ending the count rules and then come out to now come to what? The denominator. So don't worry, let me bring the denominator. So we are dividing it by what? The total visit. Then we can end it. Now let me explain it to you all. This is what I'm seeing. So for now, forget about the divide function for now, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to find the percentage of uh, the admin appointment, those patients that came to our hospital that had admin privileges, right? So now, in actual sense, the formula should have been uh, is admin divided by the total visit, right? But then we don't have the count. We don't know the total number of people that are, I mean, uh, having admin privileges, right? We don't know the total number of people that are having admin privileges. So first of all, we have to what, count them to get the number, right? To get the number. So when you count them, so here we are counting now because why did we bring this filter? We brought this filter because we want to count only those that have what? Where the admin column is what? Yes. So where you see yes, it means those people have what? Admin privileges. Right. So this is what we are saying. Count all the rows. Now, when you are counting, filter to see where the table, filter to see where the column, where the admin column in the patient visit table is equal to yes. Right. So in the admin column, we have yes and no. So if you have not seen that, please go visit the data to see the column here. Is admin column. So we have yes and no. So when there's yes, it means patient is enjoying admin privileges, right? Perfect. So when we are done with the filter, we will close it. So this bracket closes the filter. And when you come here, we are closing what? The count rows filter. So now when you bring the comma, it means we are done with what? The denominator. So this becomes the denominator for what? The divide, right? For the divide. So now when you are done, we divide it by what? The total visit. So to get the percentage, right? That's the formula. So let's check, click on the check formula, and then you see we don't have any formula. So please, if you don't understand it, kindly rewind or pause the video, go back, and then you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, perfect. So now, because this is a percentage, you will choose a number, and then when you come here, you choose what? Percentage with I think two decimal places. Okay, right, and then hit okay. So now let's see something here. So it means 50.04% of the patients that visited our hospital came with or had admit privileges. Do you see that? Perfect. Now the same thing. Let's come to pivot, power pivot, come to measure and then new measure. Now what we are going to do again is find for the percentage of the patient that do not have admin privileges, right? The percentage of the patient that do not have admin privileges. So this is what we are going to do. So we are going to say percentage of non non-admin, sorry, non-admin appointment. Perfect. Now, the same thing. I intentionally didn't copy it. We are going to write the same function, right? We are going to write the same DAX measure here. But then the condition will be what? Where the admin column is set to what? No, right? So the same thing. So we want to divide, sorry, divide the count of, now we are introducing the count because when we don't have the number, right? We don't have the number. So first of all, we have to get the number of the total patient that do not have admin privileges. Then when we get the number, we divide the number by what? The total percentage or the total patient visit, right? That's why we are counting. We are counting to get the number. So you see, with the total visit, we counted what the rows and then we got the number. So when we get the number, then we divide it by what? The total visit, right? Perfect. So now hold your shift and then come to the down next line. Now the count rules, right? The count rules requires what? A table, right? It requires a table to count. So the table that we are counting is what? The patient visit table, right? So sorry, first of all, we are not counting all the patient visit table. We are counting what? A filter of it, right? You want to filter the table before we count, right? So the filter requires two arguments. The table. So what table do you want to filter? You want to filter the patient visit table, comma, come to the next line. And then what is the filter expression or what is the condition? Now we want to count the is admin or the patient visit table where there is admin. So you make sure you have the table and what the column. So this is what the table name, and then the one in the square bracket is what the column, right? Where the is admin column in the patient table is equal to what? Uh, is equal to no. Now watch here. You see the no. I'm representing it in what? A quotation mark. Sorry, in a double quote. Right. So now we are done with the filter. Now let's close the filter. Sorry. Let's close the filter. Come to the down part. Let's close the count. Right. So do you see that? So we have closed the count. Now you see we are done with what? The denominator. Now comma to come to the denominator. Now the denominator is what? You want to do everything or you want to divide it by what? The total visit. In order to get the total visit or all the measures, just type what or on your keyboard, bring what the square bracket, and then you see all the measures here, right? Then you total visit. And then when you close it, we can check the function or the formula, and then you see we don't have any formula. We don't have any error in our formula, right? So what we are saying is count all the rows. Now, when we are counting the rows, I want you to filter the table. So this is how it will start. It will filter the table to filter the table. Now, what table will it filter? It will filter the patient table, right? And then where the admin column in the patient visit table is equal to what? No, right? And then we end it here. Then this becomes what? The numerator. Then comma to come to the denominator divided by what? The total visit. So we don't have any error. So this one too is what? Percentage. Check number. Come here, choose percentage, and then two decimal place and hit what? Okay. So now do you see that we have what? 49.96% of our patient or of the patient that visited had what? No admin privileges. So if their total billing is 1,000 Ghana cedis or $1,000, they are going to pay full amount, $1,000 or 2,000 Ghana cedis, right? So the two should sum up to what? 100%. Do you see that? So this and this should sum up to what? 100%. So it means we are correct, right? Perfect. Now let's move on to the next measure. Let's move on to the next measure. Now with the next measure, make sure you're on the power pivot. Come to measure. The next measure, we want to find for what? The average satisfaction. The patient that visited our hospital, they rated us, right? They rated our services. So we want to get the satisfaction, the average satisfaction of what? Of our patient. So the same thing, you name it average satisfaction. So AVG means what? Average and then satisfaction. Then when you come here, you write the function or the DAX measure here. So now this is what we are going to do. Now this one we are going to introduce a new function called calculate. Now don't worry, I'll differentiate. I'll show you the difference between the filter and then the calculate. We are going to calculate the average. Sorry, the average of what? The patient underscore sat score, right? So we have this column in our data, right? You have this column in our data. Patient sat score, comma, we close it, comma, and you come to the next line where the patient sat score, right? Where the patient satisfaction score, right, is not blank. Watch here. Just follow what I'm doing right now. And then when we come to the next part, we can close the calculate function. You can check our function. Then there is no error. Now watch it. Let me show you the difference between the filter and then what? The calculate. Now the filter function creates or returns a table that contains only rows meeting a specific condition, right? So with the filter, we are only returning a table, right? We are returning a table that met our filter condition. So the filter function requires two arguments: the filter and what the condition, right? But then the calculate function, right? The calculate function, it also plays a role like the filter function. But then what it does is it modifies the filter context and then evaluate an expression. So like something like the sum, the average, the count. In that modified context, I know you are not going to understand this, but see, it requires two arguments, right? It requires two arguments. So let me clear this so that I'll write it again. So calculate, it requires two arguments, the expression and then the filter. So the expression. Now here we are saying the expression is where the expression is something like the condition, right? Now, what condition do we want to no sorry, the expression is what we want to get, whether we want to get the sum or the average or the the, the count, right? So what do you want to get? We want to get the average of what column. So you see the average is taking what? The column name. What column name do you want to find the average for? The patient underscore satisfaction score, right? So when you press that, you are going to it's going to come with what? The table, right? Perfect. Now let's close it and then hit comma. Now we are on what? The filter, right? We are on the filter. We are on the filter. Now the filter is the condition, right? The filter is the condition. What do you want to get? We want to find the average where the condition or where the patient sat score, right, is not blank. Sorry. Now, when you go through the data, you understand why I'm saying it's not blank. Because you see, we have patients that rated us and patients that didn't rate us. Right? So we just want to find the average of the patients that rated us, right? So in order to find the patient of the average of the patient that rated us, we are going to what? Find the average of those that do not contain blank, right? So if you want to understand it, kindly make sure you understand the data and each of the columns, what the data contains, right? I said everything in our previous, in our introduction. Perfect. Now we are done with the average, with the calculate, right? So now let's close it and let's check our formula. Now you see when we check, we don't have any error, right? We don't have any error. Now because this is a number, we are going to choose number and then we are going to choose what? Decimal number, right? Decimal number with two decimal places and hit what? Okay. So now it means that from those who rated us out of 10, they gave us what? 5.47, right? Those who rated us out of 10, we had what? 5.47. So don't worry about those who didn't rate us. Perfect. So now the only difference that you have to take notice was the filter and then was the calculate. So the filter returns a table that has been what? Filtered. But then the calculate what? Evaluates, if it evaluates something and then it evaluates something but under a new or modified filters. So whilst the filter function is returning a table, the calculate function is returning what? A single value. So you see this one, we are having what? A single value. So now the filter function is mostly used with what? With another function, right? With another function. So don't worry if you don't understand, just go back and then rewatch the video. You are going to understand. Perfect. Now let's move on to our next function. Let's move on to our next function. Now let's see the percentage of patients that rated us, right? The percentage of patients that rated us, or the percentage of patients that didn't rate us. Yes, I think those that didn't rate us. So the same thing, let's bring it here. Let's expand it like this. Now we are going to say percentage of no ratings, right? Now those that didn't rate us, we want to find the percentage and see if they are more, or Yes. So what we are going to do is the same thing. Introduce the calculate function, right? So the calculate function evaluates an expression in the context modified by filters. Perfect. So the same thing, it requires an expression. What do you want to get? Do you want to oh sorry, we have first of all, because we are finding for percentage, we first of all have to bring the divide, right? So that we have the numerator and then the denominator. So divide by what? Divide the calculate. Now we want to get what? An expression. An expression is what? The table, sorry, the total visit, right? The total visit, comma. Now what do you want to do? We are saying get the total visit and then where the patient satisfaction score, right? Satisfaction score is equal to what? Blank. Do you see that? Where the patient satisfaction score is equal to blank. Let's close the calculate function and then comma. So this becomes what? Our denominator. Sorry, our numerator. Right? This becomes the numerator. Now, because we are finding for the percentage, we have to divide it by what? The total patients, right? Divided by what? The total patients, right? And then we can come to the next line and then end it. So when you check the function, you see there is no error. Now, this is what we are seeing. Calculate. Now, we are saying get the total visit table or get the total visit, right? The total patient that visited our hospital. Now, we want to find where the patient satisfaction score, the column contain the patient satisfaction score is blank. So where it is blank means that they didn't rate us, right? They didn't rate us. So it means it is what? Blank. Where it was what? Now, as I showed you earlier on. Now let's divide it by what? The total visit or the total patient that visited the hospital. So that's the divide function. We divide it and then we will get, because you are finding for the percentage, we come to the number, come here and then select percentage with two decimal places and hit what? Okay. Okay. So now you see 75% didn't rate us, right? 75% didn't rate us. Perfect. So this is what we are trying to get. Now, gradually we are making progress, right? We are making progress. I think it's left with, I think, three calculations, three measures, and then you'll be good to go. All right, perfect. Now, let's see the percentage of patients that are, I mean, let's see the percentage of patients according to the gender distribution, right? So first of all, come to pivot, power pivot, come to measure. Now let's get the percentage of male visits, right? Percentage of male visits. The patient that visited us who were male, right? So percentage of, sorry, male patient visit or male visits. Let me make it big. All right, so now this one too is going to be divide. So anytime you hear percentage, it means you are going to use divide, right? You are going to divide something by something, right? So divide the calculate. So the calculate, you are going to take what? The total visit, comma, where the gender, right? Where the gender or the patient visit gender. So just when you, let me clear it and show you something. Sorry, comma. Now I want to filter it by where the gender is equal to male, right? So by just typing gender, you see we have what? The column, right? So you can double click on this, then you'll be good to go. Where the gender column is equal to what? Male. Now watch here. I'm bringing the male in the double quote, writing it the same as it is in our data, right? Is equal to what? Male. Now I can close the numerator or I can close the calculate function, comma, to bring me to what? The denominator. And I'm dividing it by what? The total visit, right? I can close it here, right? So in order for you not to get confused, let me bring this one here so that you see that. So we calculate the total visit where the patient's gender is equal to male. And then you divide it because it is percentage, you divide it by what? The total visit. Now let's check our formula. We don't have any error, right? So percentage, click on number, come to percentage, two decimal places, and hit OK. Perfect. So we have what? 51.05%. So let's do that for female. So I could have just copied it and then pasted it here, but then I want to write it so that you understand it well. So percentage of sorry, female visits. Perfect. Let me make it big. All right, so the same thing, because we are dealing with percentage, let's bring our divide. Sorry. So enter to come to the next line and then tab to, indent it. So the same thing, calculate the total visit, comma, where the gender, right, where the gender of the patient is equal to what? Female, and then you bring that in what? In the double quote, right? So let's end it, sorry. Let's end our calculate function and introduce our comma, right, to come to what? The denominator. Then we are dividing it by what? The obvious total visit. We can end this one to here. So this is what we are trying to say. So check function and then hit what? Number. Because it is percentage, you choose percentage, two decimal places, and then we are good to go. Perfect. So it's 48.69. Now the two should sum up to 100, right? But then watch here. You see, it is summing up to 99.74. What is the problem? Now, if you pay close attention in our data, we have male, female, and what? Others. So now, if you are doubting, let me go to data. Let's go to queries and connection. Let's double click on the patient visit. Let's go back to Power Query so that we can explore the gender column, right? Perfect. So now this is the gender column. So this column. So when you click on the drop down, you see we have male, we have female, male, and others, right? Perfect. So this is the reason why this is not summing up to 100, right? This is the reason why this is not summing up to 100. So we have to we have to write that calculation for what? For the others too, right? So that we will get 100%. Perfect. So let's go to Power Pivot, measure, new measure. Let's bring it here. Let's extend it. I always want to extend it so that you see what I'm doing. Perfect. So the table name, you want the same thing. You want it to go to calculations. And then what will be the name? So the name will be percentage of other visits. So those patients that didn't want to disclose the agenda, right? Those patients that didn't want to disclose the agenda. All right. So the same thing, because we are dealing with percentage, let's bring our divide function here. And then let's calculate. The expression is what? The total visits. So write total, and then you see this one here. You can double click, then comma, where the gender. So when you type gender, you see this one. Just double click. Gender is equal to what? Double quotes, others. So those who didn't want to disclose their gender, right? Perfect. So we can close the calculate function, bring our comma to come to what? The denominator. So we are dividing it by what? The total visit. So I've written this three multiple times, right? Three times. So by now I know, I'm very certain that you understand. Let's check the function. We don't have any error. Go to number. Let's choose percentage, two decimal places. Okay, and then hit what? Okay. Perfect. So now when you come here, you now this is male, this is female, this is others. So now you see it is now summing up to what? 100%. It is now summing up to what? 100%. Perfect. So now this is what uh you've been able to do. I think this is all the DAX calculations that you will need, right? This is all the DAX calculations that we will need. So that is that. Perfect. 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 So since we have all our measures calculated, we can now insert the pivot table for the KPIs or the key metrics, right? Perfect. So now let's rename this. Double click on this and then let's rename it to analysis. Analysis. Right. So you know this is our analysis sheet, right? Perfect. So now if you mistakenly exit or cancel the pivot table fields, you can just select inside this place, right click and then go to showed field list and you will see this here, right? Perfect. So now you want to get our total visits, right? You want to get our total visits. So you go to the calculations here and then you drag the total visit here. So this is what our total visit. And then you want to get the percentage of those that are admin and then the percentage of those that are not admin, right? Admin appointment. So this is percentage of those that are admin and percentage of those that are not what? Admin, right? Perfect. So this three is okay. We are going to use this three too. I mean, start building our dashboard. So now let me exit this, select this, and then change the design. Like I want to change the colors. So something like this, right? I want to change the colors. Now, let us start designing our dashboard straight away. So I'm going to insert a new sheet and then I'm going to double click and rename this to what? Dashboard and then enter. Now what I'm going to do now is make sure I'm going to auto hide all the ribbon so I'll get enough space. Turn off my grid lines and then turn off what my headings and then I'll get enough canvas like this, right? Perfect. So select any cell, Control A to select everything, and then you come to home and the background. Let's make the background this color, right? This 5% darker color like this. Perfect. So it is no more white. We have, I mean, darken it. Perfect. Now let's bring in some shape. Go to insert, go to illustrations, come to shape, and then choose this rectangle. Let's write this shape here. Perfect. Now to be on the same page, Control 1 to move the line. Control 1. Now let's bring this one here. Now expand the line and then choose what? No line. And then expand the fill and choose, come to color and choose this white color. Right, perfect. Now select it. So for us to be on the same page, select it, select the shape, come to shape format and then under size, right? Under size here. Let's use the same size so that we'll be on the same page. Probably maybe our screens might be different. So you just use whatever that will be convenient for you. Okay. So let's do this. So the height, I'm doing it 7.35. Perfect. And then the width, I'm doing it 0.35. Perfect. So we have something like this, right? Perfect. So now we are not done. We are designing a professional dashboard. So let's go and bring another shape. So insert, go to illustrations, shapes, and then let's bring this one here. This one, the rounded corners, the rectangle that has rounded corners. So select that one and drag it like this. Right, perfect. So let's control the roundness. So this button here, the orange button here, you can use it to control the roundness, right? So let's drag it outside like this. So I think this is okay, right? This is okay. So for now, control 1 to remove the fill. And then with the solid fill, the color, this blue color, click on it and then come to more colors. You're going to use a custom color, right? You're going to use a custom color. So inside here, or if you are using the RGB, the red is 0, sorry, 0. The green is 48, and then blue is 73. Perfect. So if you are using the hex code, it is 003049, 003049, and then hit what? Okay. So now this is what you've gotten so far. Now I don't want it to be that deep, right? So I will make the transparent to 60%, right? I'll make the transparent to 60%. So this is the transparency. 60%. I think this is okay, right? Now select it. Let's control the size. Come to shape format, and then the height. The height. Let's make the height. I think 2.47, right? 2.47, and then the width. Let's make the width 13.37. 37. Perfect. So something like this, right? So we can drag it here nicely like this, right? So we can drag it here. So make sure you follow me so that you all be on the same page, right? Perfect. Now let's duplicate this shape. Select the shape and then Control D to duplicate it like this, right? So now this is what we are going to do. We are going to extend it here. So to be on the same page again, select this shape, the bigger one. Go to shape format, the height. mm, I'm thinking, Okay, let's make the height. Think 6.51. Let's see. Okay, and the width. Let's make it 13.16. Let's see. Okay, perfect, perfect. Right. So now let's drag it here like this, so that there will be some space here, and then there will be some space here. Right. Perfect. So now Control One. We don't have no line. Then the fill, we are going to make it white like this. Clear the transparency for this white color, right? For the big shape. So let's make the transparency to be 0. Perfect. So this is what I want to do, right? Okay. So let's drag it down. So use your mouse cursor. Sorry, use your keyboard arrow to bring it down like this. Perfect. 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 Let's center it perfectly, nicely like this. Okay. So now this is what we've been able to do, right? Now let's bring a text box. Let's bring a text box. So go to Insert, and this part, just click on text box and then click on this one. Let's drag it like this. So we are going to name our dashboard as what? Sorry, patient visits dashboard. Yes, dashboard like this, right? Perfect. So let's make it smaller like this. Let's place it here. Now, whilst the text box is selected, Control 1, yes, we are going to see no line and then no fill like this. Perfect. So you select the text box, Control 1 again, and then now you go to text option, right? So now it is shape option. Just toggle to text options. And let's make the text white, right? Perfect. Now we can go to home and then make it big, maybe 20. Yes, I think 20 is okay. Let's make sure it is at this point left. Perfect. So now let's bring in our icon, right? Let's bring in our first icon. Go to Insert, Illustration. Now instead of shapes, you go to what? Pictures, and then choose what? From device. So you locate where your uh, saved icon is, right? You locate where your saved icon is. Okay. So these are my icons. So I'm going to bring in this first one here. So here is, where is it? So I'm going to make it smaller like this. Perfect. And then I'll drag it to this side. Do you see that? Perfect. So let me make it small. Okay. So this is what I want to do. So let me bring it here so that I'll select this one and then so drag it here. Perfect. So now this is what I want to do, right? This is what I want for now. Perfect. Now we can bring in, now before that, let's duplicate our textbook. So Control D to duplicate, Control D to duplicate. Now it is showing white, right? So let's come here, home. Let's make the font color maybe something like this, right? Something like this is okay. Perfect. So and then select it. Let's make the size, I think 11. Okay, let's make it 12 rather. Okay, now let's minimize it. And then we can say what? Total visits. Right, you can see total visits. Okay, let's make it total patient visits. Perfect. So this is what you want. You can place it here, somewhere here. Right, perfect. Okay, so now let's bring in some shape. Go to illustrate, insert illustrations, shapes, and let's choose this circle, right? Click on it. So in order to draw the circle, a perfect circle, make sure you hold the shift key, right? You hold shift key and then drag it down like this to draw the perfect circle. So I want it to be very small, like 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 this, right? So select the circle, control one, then let me make it this color, and then I will see no line. Oh, perfect. I'll place it here beside this, like this, or I can move it up a little and also move this one up. Perfect. So this is what I want to do, right? Perfect. Now let's go and bring in our number here. Let's bring in our number here. Now I'll make sure I'll show the formula bar now. Then what I'll do is I'll duplicate this here and then select the text box like this. So don't select it like this, right? Don't select it. Don't select it like this. Select it like this so that you can move it around, right? Select it like this. And then come to the formula bar, type equal to. Then come to the analysis and reference this, right? Perfect. So now we have the 9,000. Perfect. So it's too small, right? It's too small. So what we can do is come to home. Then let's make uh the font family should be what? Calibri. I think it should be body, something like this. And then let's make the size 40. Yes, perfect. So let's bring it here. Now it's showing Times New Roman. Let's make it Calibri. Perfect. We can bold it, Control B, and then Control 1 to change the color, right? So, oh, sorry, no color. So go to test options, right? Because this is a test. Click on the color and then let's choose this color. But then I'll make sure this one too is what? 60. The transparency will also be what? 60. Perfect. So now this is what we've gotten so far here, right? This is what we've gotten so far. Now I'm going to insert a shape, but before that, let me sorry, bring this one here and duplicate. Control D to duplicate this so that I can position this one here nicely like this, right? Perfect. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the percentage of. So here will be percentage of admin appointment. So I can make it like this, then extend this like this. So something like this is okay for me. And I will duplicate that, then place this one here. And then I will say percentage of sorry, non-admin appointments, right? Or schedule, whatever you want to call it. This one should be at the middle like this. This one too should be at the middle like this. And then this one too, same thing here. Perfect. So just follow it and then you'll be good to go. Right. Perfect. So just something like this is okay. Okay. So for now, this is what I'm going to do for now. And then let me okay. Don't worry. Duplicate the text box once more. Duplicate, then place it, sorry, then place it here. So I'm going to bring the value, the percentage here. Perfect. So select it like this so that you'll be able to move it around like this. All right. So the same thing equal to, come to your analysis and check or select the percentage of what admin appointment. Hit enter. So this is what we've gotten. So duplicate and then put this one here. So this one will be equal to, then you will go and reference the percentage of non-admin appointment. Perfect. Now let's change the format. So let's make the font Calibri light, Calibri bold, sorry, body, and then make the color like this, and you can bold it, right? Perfect. I think this is okay, right? I think this is okay. So you can place it at the center like this, make it this at the center. Perfect. So now, or we can, I mean, make this one 14, right? 14. I think 14 is okay. Yes, this is what I want. So now I will just come to, whilst this thing is selected, come to home and then click on the format painter and then come here and then paste it here. So we have the same format, right? You have the same format. Perfect. Now I'm going to insert a shape. Before that, let me get rid or cancel the formula bar so we get enough space here, right? Perfect. Go to insert a shape. So go to insert, illustration, shapes, and then I'll insert I think this shape, right? Braces. Right brace. Okay, let me go with this. No, 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 not this one. Not this one. Go to insert shapes and let's choose s- yeah, I think I'll I don't know which one I used. Okay, choose this. Okay, showing two. I don't want to show two. Sorry. Let's check again. Shapes. Okay, let's choose this and then hold shift and see something. Okay, I think this is okay. Right, perfect. So we can rotate it like this. You see that? Perfect. And then we can make it like this. Perfect. So now let's place it here. Let's stretch it a little. Okay, I think I want this. Perfect. Now it's too big. All right. So sorry. Control Z. Select the shape. Place it somewhere here. So you just have to take your time and then make it nice. Right. Perfect. So this is what I'm trying to get. Perfect. Do you see that? Perfect. So please take your time and then make it nicely. Okay. Perfect. So select this, select this. Let's bring it down a little. Select this, select this. Let's bring it down a little so that this one will have enough room. Perfect. Now select this shape, control one, and then under shape options, go to solid. Sorry. Go to no fill. Let's come here rather, and let's make it shape format. Is it outline? Okay, so under shape outline, let's make it this color. Right. Click on shape outline again. Okay, I know what to do. Just Control Z2. Sorry. All right. Select this. Control Z to get this color. Right. Control one. Control one. So under the line, you see, we don't want to choose a color for the fill, right? We want to choose a color for the line. So under solid line, click on the color. Click on this one. Then let's make it what? 60% transparent. And then let's make the width to be I think one. Yes, this is what I want. Perfect. So this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. So something like this, right? Something like this. So this I'm trying to say that this total number of visit or this total patient visit, we can break it down into what percentage of admin appointment and then what percentage of what non-admin appointment. So you see, the admin appointment is 50%, 50 roughly 50%, and then the non-admin is this, right? So let's select the two, come to shape format and align here, align it to the top. So they are aligned properly like this, right? Perfect. All right, so let's move on to the next part. Let's move on to the next part. So I'm going to insert a shape that's this shape. So you see, come to this part where we have diagonal corners rounded, right? This one, diagonal corners rounded. So click on it and then let's drag a shape like this. So this is the shape I want, right? Perfect. So let's control the roundness. So something like this is okay. Let's place it here. So to be on the same page, control one to remove the line. Then with the fill, select the color and then choose this. Then we are going to make the transparency to be what 60% as well. Perfect. So we can exit this. And the size, select the shape, come to shape format, and then the height is going to be uh 1.95, and then the width is going to be 2.15. Perfect. So this is what I want, right? This is what I want. Now, because I want to show something in this, let me make sure it is the transparency is a bit higher, right? So let me make the transparency, yes. So something like maybe 90, right? Yes. So I can show something in it. So I want to show the average satisfaction, the percentage of not rated, and then the average or the average waiting time, right? Perfect. So go to insert, illustration, shapes, and then choose this oval shape. So in order to draw a perfect circle, hold your shift key and drag it like this. Perfect. So control one, no line, and then the fill should be what? Okay, white. Let's bring a solid line. And the solid line should be this color, right? So just click solid line and then choose this color. Perfect. So now let's drag it here. I think it's too big. Let's hold shift and then reduce it like this. Perfect. So double duplicate like this. Control D, then control D again to duplicate like this. So send this one top. This one should be the middle like this, and then this one should come here. Perfect. So we can select all the circles here whilst holding the control key. Go to shape format, align, then let's align them vertically, and let's align them to the left. Perfect. So they are properly aligned, right? Now let's duplicate the text box and place it here. Now we are going to say average satisfaction, maybe score, right? Something like this. Perfect. Now let's duplicate it and then bring it here. Now we can say, let's edit it and say percentage of no ratings, right? Percentage of no ratings. Let's make it small like this. Perfect. And then let's duplicate and say say average wait time. Yes, average wait wait time like this. Right, perfect. Now let's duplicate this. Control D. Let's place it here. Control D again. See where it is showing. Okay. Sorry. So select this. Control D. Let's bring it here. Control D again. Then let's bring this one here. Right. Perfect. Perfect. So now let's bring our formula bar. Bring our formula bar. Whilst this, percentage is selected, can go and then okay. So before that, we have to show the average rating, right? So right click and then show field list. So let's show them average satisfaction, percentage of no rating, percentage of male visit, percentage of female visit, and percentage of what others. I think we don't have the average waiting time, right? We don't have it. So let's do it. Let's add it to this one, right? So let's go to Power Pivot, Measures, and then click on New Measure, right? Click on New Measure. So sorry about that. We didn't add that one. So the same thing we are going to do with what average wait wait time, right? Average wait time or average waiting time. So whatever that is good for you. So this one is very simple, right? It's very simple. We are going to find what the average of what the wait time is it, right? Let's check. We don't have any error. So the average of what the patient wait time, right? So this is the column, and then this is what the table. So we are averaging the patient wait time column in the what patient visit table. So because it is a number, let's choose number and then the decimal place. Right, perfect. Let's hit OK. So now you see in minutes, so it means the average wait time is what 35 minutes 26 seconds. Perfect. So now we can select this equal to and then average satisfaction score. This is the satisfaction score. Enter. Select this equal to percentage of no rating. So this is percentage of no ratings. Come here. Select this equal to average wait time. Do you get that? Enter. Perfect. So now we can select this one, go to home, and then double click on the format painter. So we paint it on this, paint it on this, and then paint it on that. So escape, and then we are good to go. So this is what we want. Now let's select everything and then align them to the left, right? Shape align to the left so that they will all be aligned properly, right? Perfect. Now let's bring the images, right? Let's bring the images. So before that, let me go to view and turn off the data bar, sorry, the formula bar. Now I'll go to insert illustrations, pictures, and then this device. So now let's bring all our okay, let's bring only this, this, and this, right? So we'll bring the rest later. So bring it here. Let's minimize all together, all of them. Perfect. Now we can select here and then drag this one here. Drag this, and then we can bring this one here. Let's so do you see that? Let's bring it down, then down a little. Do you see that? Perfect. So now the average, okay, the no ratings will be here. So this is too big. Let's reduce the size like this. It's too big. Let's reduce it like this. Perfect. And then let's reduce this. You can bring it here. That's the average wait time. The time that the patient waited before they were attended to. So the average is what 35.26 seconds. Perfect. So this is what we've been able to get so far. And then I don't want the video to be too long, so I'll end here and then I'll continue the rest in our second video.